Whenever I get the chance to speak in front of a large group of coaches or trainers, the questions at the end are usually very, very similar. Because during my presentation, I'm really harping on the idea of selling time for money and how bad it is. So inevitably, these coaches are coming up to me and saying, hey, well, I totally get it. Light bulbs are switched on, but how do I make the transition? So on today's episode, that's exactly what we're going to be covering so that you can save time, make more money, and ultimately coach how and where you want. So again, today we are focusing on coaching and the beauty of introducing long-term programming into your business. So let's get to it. All right, so here we are talking about long-term development, a 101, if you will. But again, before we dive into the weeds, for anybody that's new to this content and you're just finding us for the first time, I do want to elaborate a little bit more on that key foundational information. Program versus lesson, or you could call it coaching versus lessons for the purpose of this. Lessons imply a quick fix, but worst of all, you are selling a unit of time. Think about how you're presenting this. You go to your website and you say, hey, I'll sell you a 1-hour lesson. Not really that appealing. And ultimately, again, anybody coming to you is thinking they're going to get a quick fix. They're thinking you're going to make them better in that hour, which we know is not possible. So I really want you to lean into coaching and specifically long-term development programs. If you do, your business will thank you for it. And more importantly, your lifestyle will thank you for it. So let's get into the numbers so you can better understand why this is so important and why it's so key that you make this shift. So we work with thousands and thousands of coaches across 60 plus sports, 140 countries. And so we have a lot of information. We've been doing this for 10 years. So historically, if you are somebody that's living in this lesson model, you're going to be working for more than 40 hours a week and generating 32 to 60K a year. And you're going to be working your tail off. So anybody that's in this mode comes to us either burnt out or on their way there, and they recognize they need to make a change. And my advice to them is, at the very least, let's get you here. Let's get you to coaching. Now, you still might put in a lot of time because statistically this is what we're seeing, but your income is going to go up significantly. You can charge more, and you're now moving into this expectation that it's going to take a little while for someone to get better. So therefore, you have retention and higher ticket coaching. That's just how it is. So you're now going to be at about 50K to 84K. All right. Now, if you've bought into coaching, you're already there, or you want to just kind of hit the accelerator and really launch into something extremely beneficial for your business and for your clientele, you're going to be looking at connected coaching, that's the CC there, and long-term development programs. So if you take advantage of the technology at your fingertips, structure your offers the right way, you can greatly reduce the amount of time that you're coaching and greatly increase the amount of income potential that you have for your business. So let's dive a little bit more into specifics when it comes to the long-term development side. I'll obviously talk about how some of the technology plays into this, but I think some of the just kind of basics here are going to be really important for you. So this is going to work whether it be one-on-one or group training. A lot of this information is going to play there, and I will call out certain moments for you to help it make more sense. So the keys here as we get into this is that you absolutely have to start off with minimum expectations. So again, you are creating a relationship here. You're not just a quick fix, one and done type of coach anymore. If you're moving into this, you are creating a long relationship. And as a part of that, you need to make sure that there's expectations on both sides. So what I mean by that is that you're going to set aside how many times you're going to meet in person, for how long, how many interactions you're going to have in between that time on a digital application like CoachNow. And then you want to make sure that you're setting aside minimum expectations for how much they are going to practice and how much they are going to contribute to the documenting of that practice. It's imperative that you set this up from day one. That way, when there's complications or missed milestones or frustration from both sides, you can always go back to this expectation side. It is incredibly surprising to me how often coaches just say, hey, here we are, we met, good luck, go practice. And there's no understanding and there's no foundational expectations. It's really, really, really important. So now that we've got the minimum expectations when it comes to practice and interactions, we also need to establish the minimum commitment. So how much time are they going to dedicate to this journey of getting better? And I'm not talking about the commitment of time on a weekly basis, I'm talking about months or years, right? So in most cases, coaches are leaning in somewhere between 3 and 6 months. So if you're going to come and work with me and we've decided on this game plan, this roadmap, if you will, we're going to need at least 3 months to get there. We'll then do a review and then adjust our plan accordingly. And the adjusting of the plan might be, hey, we're no longer working together because it didn't quite work out, or now we're evolving the training plan and all these other expectations and commitments as well. It can always be edited and tweaked, but this is where you have to start because the times are going to get tough. You know it. Getting better at something is hard. So you just really need everyone to buy into those two minimums: minimum expectations on how to interact and the minimum time commitment of how long they are going to be spending chasing down this passion. So this next key here is really important. It ties into the very beginning of the episode where we're talking about units of time. Please stop selling those and sell results instead. So let's do a quick comparison. If you are selling time, you're going to be the person that has the website that says book a 1-hour lesson, 2-hour lesson, a package of 4 hours, a package of 10 for the price of 8. Not super compelling, and ultimately doesn't really tell the story of what's expected and where you're going to be heading with this person. So let's lean into the results. By working with me, you're going to run faster, jump higher, hit the ball further, win more tournaments, etc., etc., etc. Then, once they have the results and they understand that, all of the programming is the underpinning of that to get them to those results. And obviously, there's going to be time involved with you meeting with them and coaching with them and interacting with them through CoachNow or another application. Yes, that's a component of it. That's how you get there. But don't sell that. Sell the result. And if you can really lean into that, it's going to become ultra clear what you do, and your business will really, really thank you for it. So let's talk about some onboarding keys. So onboarding, for those of you that aren't really familiar with that term, it's how you're going to bring on a new client, how you're going to get them into your business. Unfortunately, a lot of folks don't have really any process there, and because of that, they're not able to move people into programming because they're so used to just booking a lesson and having somebody show up and they figure it out as they go. So the first part that I want to encourage you to look at is a free assessment. Don't work with anybody, don't commit to anything until there's an assessment. That assessment can be of their technical skills, where they've been in their game, their injury history, etc., and better understanding if they're going to be a good fit for you as a coach, not just the other way around. Now, and I say free because so many coaches lead into this thing, especially through Instagram or others, where it's, hey, send me a swing, I'll analyze it for $25. I do online swing analysis, $25 all the time. Man, that's going to really burn you out, and it doesn't lead into what's most important, which is then selling a program for improvement. So do a free assessment, a free audit, call it what you will. Get people to send you their technical movements if it's remote, or meet with someone in person, run them through an assessment, and then at the end, you have all the foundational information to move them into a program. Then you're going to move them into a key program, but it's imperative that you have these programs already built out. So you're not making them up as you go along. You're not hyper customizing them for people, because you need your menu and you need to fit people within that as best you can. That is another major flaw of how coaches are running their business, is that everything is becoming so custom, and because it's so based on time, I'll just meet you at this time and this time and this time, there's really no plan that you can move people into. So I want to give you a quick example here, Ramin, and if you're listening to this, it's practice, semi-private, and private. Now, this doesn't have to be the case for every single business, but I think this is a good flow for you to understand and why this has been so meaningful for coaches. Okay, so someone went through an assessment, and at the end, you've determined that they don't have the financial means to really dedicate the amount of time necessary to get better. They can't see you and they can't work with you in the way that you want to. Fine. Their skills maybe aren't at a certain level, or they're just generally too young if you're working with juniors. So at this point, you're going to put them into a practice program, and this is going to be where group training comes in. They're now on your practice team, their practice squad, and you are supervising the practice. It works really, really well. The most important part here, though, is just like any traditional sports program, if you're out there as a skills coach, you schedule practice, they show up. You don't try to mix and match and make it fit everybody's schedule. They are going to adjust their schedule to you. And that group, that practice can be pretty large because none of it is individualized and you're running people through drill stations and practice games, stuff like that. Okay. Now, when you go into semi-private, now they've got a certain skill level, they've got a certain time commitment, and their financial means mean a certain thing. And you might be able to find the exact right people to pair them up with, especially if you're working with juniors. You can move them into pods of 3, have them compete with each other. It works really, really well, and everyone's getting a little bit more bang for their buck. Now, let's say this particular athlete has moved through practice or semi-private or tests immediately into this top tier because, again, their skills are a certain level, their age and goal orientation match up with what you like to do, and they have the financial means to fall into this top tier program. Then you put them in it. And this top tier program costs the most out of all of those, obviously. And it's something where they're going to get this VIP white glove service from you, coach in their pocket. Now, I will remind you that CoachNow can and should be used with every single aspect of those training programs, but you can understand that the private one is just going to cost more and you don't have as many spots. So what I'm encouraging you to do, if people come to you and they go through an assessment, you don't turn them away unless they are completely off the radar for what you like to do. It's because you've niched yourself out and they just don't match at all and it won't be a good relationship and they won't match with anybody else. Turn them away. But you're going to reach a capacity for private. Then you put them into semi-private and then the practice. You can see how that all works together so you can really build a strong stable of athletes, so to speak, and you can move people up and down depending on where they are with their skills and their means to participate in these different programs. So I said it in the last little bit of this, but I want to hit it one more time, is that you are going to have these programs, these offers figured out, and you are going to set and stick to it. Now, in the early days, you're going to have some bending and some customization and some things that you iterate on, so to speak. You're not going to have it figured out from exactly day one. But as you move along, the reason I say this is that a lot of athletes are going to ask for certain things. They're going to say, well, I can't do it this day. Can you do it this day? I don't want to pay this. Can I pay this? And it's going to be up to you to say, no, this is how I do it. Now, as you move your existing clientele into this, that's where a lot of this trepidation comes in. But I guarantee you, if you put it together to where they're going to have the coach in their pocket, it's going to make more sense for their long-term plans. And now you've got a new program for them and it's more affordable than paying by the hour. They're going to be stoked. And for the new people, they have no idea that you're doing it differently anyway, or that you've just changed. So they are going to jump in and buy into what you're doing. So I want to say this maybe even a little bit differently. Athletes come to you not only for the guidance in their game or their skills, obviously. You are also going to dictate how and when you coach and how and when you communicate, and that is all a part of this offer. So again, whatever you set up, stick to it as best you can. All right, so here we are at the recap. We're going to round this out. I'm going to do my best to summarize everything because we have covered a lot of ideas. 1, move away from lessons. That's a no-brainer. We've got a lot of content on that. Hopefully this episode was just another push in the right direction. 2, focus on long-term development with reasonable minimums for you and the athlete. That's really, really important. Start with that. And then make sure that there is a time commitment up front that they're buying into and that you don't accept anything less than that. You say, hey, my minimum time commitment is 3 months. Minimum time commitment is 6 months. That's how long it's going to take to make these changes and start putting them into play. That's all built in. Also, consider the different levels that people can work with you. Practice, semi-private, or private. Call them whatever you want, but it's a great way to move people up and down through your coaching system. And it's also a really, really strong way to work with juniors because you can clarify exactly where the kids are going to start and where they're going to end up. And it also sets up scarcity within your business, which is really important to say, I only can work with a certain amount of people one-to-one. The rest of you are going to fall into this category. Trust me, it works. And it also allows you to hire other coaches and other trainers way faster if that's how you've got this set up. Lastly, whatever offer you have, stick with it, be proud of it, and make sure that you don't bend too much because otherwise it's just like going to a restaurant and customizing everything on the menu. It doesn't work. All right, so before we go, action item. I want to do whatever I can moving forward for all of you guys to make sure that we're not only putting out this content that introduces ideas or philosophies and gets you all hyped up, but it gives you an actionable step. So what I want you to do is, if you are a coach that is actively still doing lessons as a part of your business and you think, yes, this makes sense, I want to make the jump. What I want you to do, start small. Take 3 existing clients that are consistently paying you for lessons and move them into a coaching program. Have a sit down with them. Talk about long-term development. Talk about where they really want to go. Talk about what they're going to need to get there and create a plan for them. This is going to include what they're going to pay on a monthly or semi-annual basis. This is going to include how many times you meet in person, all the different touch points, everything that we've already covered. This is going to be your little beta group, if you will, that will allow you to understand the different pieces of how you want to structure these offers in the long term. Pilot it with 3 people. Let them know, hey, you're going to get in on the ground floor for reduced price. You're going to help me put this together. And when I roll it out, everybody's going to be paying more, but you are the lucky few to help me set this up. We do it all the time. It's part of our secret launch plan for any product that we do. We have a small group of folks to test it out with, and I know it will work for you. So please, please, please put it into play. All right, so as we head out here, if you liked this episode, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're listening to this on any of your podcast apps, please rate, review, share the episode with a friend, because we are here to do everything we can to move the world of coaching and training forward so that you can make more money, save time, and coach how and where you want. So pushing this content around the interwebs is a big, big help for that. And if you want to kick off a free trial, you've recognized that you need some technology and you're not already using the CoachNow platform, head over to CoachNow.io. You can start a 7-day free trial, no credit card required. And if you even wanted extra time, you just let them know I said you could and we'll give you more. And if you want more education, blogs, all sorts of stuff, head over to coachnow.io/education, and you can also subscribe to our Connected Coach Digest that we send out every month to make sure you get all the up-to-date information on the world of coaching, the industry of coaching. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for being here. And as I said before, please put those action items into play, because I can guarantee you, for those of you that take action, you will have success. That is the key. Just take action. All right. See you next time.